Grand Rising, beautiful, melanated, original, whatever you respectfully call yourself, people. It's your girl, Straight No Chaser with the Queen. Yeah. And we are going to be having cooking and conversations. And I want y'all to tell me, do you think that black people should teach that their children that Santa is real? I want to know that. So I'm getting my stuff together. You know how I prep my stuff. Getting my prep together. We got this. We got I'm going to get my seasonings. Grand Rising, beautiful melanated people. So while I go get my seasonings and my crabs together, I want y'all to answer my question. Put it in the comment. Do you believe or do you think? Because I know it's a conversation going around about it was a post that said to them black people who spoil Christmas for their children are weird. Grand Rising, Glass Moon. So, do you believe that black people? I got this wig on for Mrs. Santa Claus. Do you believe that black people should teach their kids that Santa is real? What do y'all think out there? What do you think? Because there is a post going around on Facebook, and it says that black people who don't teach their kids that Santa is real is spoiling Christmas for them. So it's crazy to me. How can you spoil Christmas when it's a holiday that wasn't ours? And Grand Rising, Lavar, and I think it takes away from us. That's why I put this wig on today. It's like, why do we always let them whitewash our accomplishments, our achievements, and all of the things that's taught to us says it starts at home. Leave that alone. All of the things that's taught to us, we say that it's taught at home. And what's the matter? One moment. What? That's the crabs. Yes. But it's taught at home. So why I was kind of offended by the post. I'm like, are we that programmed? I had an argument with my cousin years ago, and I first used to be into that, but even though I still did the Christmas thing, because somehow they made us link our brains to Christmas and Jesus when there's nothing about Christmas in the Bible. That is not Jesus' birthday. They tell you it's a pagan holiday because anybody that is not Christian, when they were forcing Christianity on everybody, was considered pagan. So we were already celebrating. There's videos out there. We were already celebrating, and then they came along and decided to take over our holidays like they did our land and cultures and make it theirs. So they emerged their Jesus story into something we were already celebrating because that's how you program. If we were already used to getting up in the winter solstice and doing different things, then how did Jesus get in the picture? So, and when they trick us, because then if you go against Christmas, they somehow programmed our minds to think you go against their Jesus, and it's all a trick. So should we teach our kids that Santa is real? I say no. No. One moment. If y'all want to follow me, I'm over here at the spice counter. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. I'm over here at my spice counter, as y'all know. Let me get my thing so I can let it reach. Leave it alone. I'm at my spice counter getting my spices ready uh, for my crabs. Got my Old Bay, this, some garlic. You could come by, G. Some paprika. Oh, Lord. Yep, I got it on. I got on my Mrs. Claus wig since everybody want to celebrate motherfucking Christmas. Excuse me, on there. No Santa here anymore. What happened? It came on. You can put that there. Probably just keep it with my dry. Put it in there because that's gonna be mine now. Because Cause ain't no other dryers around here. But I'm being Mrs. Claus today. Ho, ho, ho. Merry, not Christmas.
I guess I'm Santa Claus then.
You gotta get your wig and stuff. He said he the black Santa Claus. He don't wear wigs. Let me get my salt. And I know I'm mixing my crab boil. I had a little. Where's my crab boil at? Get down. So let me get all my little seasons and take it over here while we discuss this Santa Claus thing. The imposter that's in our house. Y'all keep that big fat white man out your house. I think it's an insult that you get your children, because I did it. But see, it's too much wokeness now for us to continue to do the same thing. For us to take our children out here and make our children believe that there's a big fat white man that's going to come down a chimney and give them presents if they're good. Think about it. We take our kids. These people love pedophilia and they love culture appropriating. You take your kids and you okay it to sit on a white man's lap. When we were growing up, little girls were taught not to sit on a man's lap. But somehow they mix Christmas in with the Jesus and the Christianity, which has nothing to do with each other. And you tell people that Jesus wasn't born on Christmas, they like, so it was a day, it was in December. It wasn't. It was the winter solstice. You got a summer solstice, you got a winter solstice. At this time of the year, people are planting crops. When so-called Jesus rose from the grave, that don't make no sense to us, do it? When he rose from the grave, now you got Easter. That has nothing to do with it. They basically implanted themselves in traditions and everything that we were already celebrating from nature. I am Mrs. Claus. I'm the Black Claus. I guess this is what we should do. If I'm gonna teach my kids to sit on a fat ass white man lap, then I might well be Mrs. Claus. Because the post, now Jay, you got children, the post say, Black people or people who teach their kids that Santa is not real is weird, and why spoil Christmas for kids? Because we have been living in a way that you program your children to believe lies. We have programmed our kids to believe lies. And that's why our kids believe in everything imaginary. Our kids look at videos, our kids look at movies, and everything they see in a movie, our kids, you can come by, Frank, everything that they see in a movie, they mimic. We are mimicking white people. This, and when they talk about white woman weave, this is what you call the white woman weave. This ain't the Black woman weave. I'm Mrs. Claus today. Well, I'm Mrs. Claus today. Greetings, one who care. I want to ask y'all, as y'all come in and we getting this started, we only been here almost 10 minutes. Do you teach your children that Santa is real, and should Black people teach their children Santa is real? I say no, because it's more cultural appropriation. It's a door. It was a door, like this refrigerator door. I opened that door to what? My refrigerator, my food. When you teach your kids that a white man is going to celebrate them and give them promises if they're good, you let that white man in the house to take the replacement of you and your Black hard work. How many times are we going to keep letting white people steal our culture, steal our achievements, steal our inventions, and we sit back? We walk in the world and don't even know almost everything created in America was created by Black people while white people benefit. I am not giving my kids, you can go by, the satisfaction of telling them a white man is going to give them something if they're good. And in the end, most Black kids are left devastated and disappointed because y'all asses ain't got the income that them white people got. And
so you gonna turn your back after you say that?
I'm just telling them the truth. I'm seasoning I'm eating crabs. I'm eating crabs. They say we crabs in the bucket.
She said,
I mean, it don't make no sense to them. Let me see. Great point. Programming children to believe lies. That's right. No dead tree in the living room this year over and over again. That's right. Ain't it stupid? They come listen to how the world is, y'all. Listen to this though. This Glass man said no dead tree in the living room. I mean, in his living room this year. Think about it, y'all. Don't America say we got a crisis with deforestation, and then you turn around every year, there's millions of trees cut down just so it can sit up in the living room of somebody's house, and then we sit around and complain that we ain't got that many trees. We need to plant a tree each year. Everything America teaches us is backwards as hell.
That is not eco-friendly.
Thank you. It doesn't even agree with the universe.
No.
Christmas used to be they say pagan. Remember, pagan is any, and you can look it up. Pagan is anything when the British and the Europeans came over here and took over this land, they created their terms of Christianity. And everybody else that wasn't in Christianity was considered pagan. You know, they have to lump you in a group so they can stereotype you and ostracize you in order to get their point across. So why? And then black people came up with another religion, the Jehovah's Witnesses. Well, we don't celebrate holidays, but we still believe in that same old stuff that the white people brung us. Every version is just a little bit different, but it's all from the same book. And that book that they get was created from pillaging the lands of black people, the tombs, the pyramids. And don't think pyramids were just in Africa. Pyramids are right here in America. You don't get to see them because the programming has to be black people from Africa, not all the world, even though the world shows us we were already here. And somehow we have programmed ourselves to believe a European is a white person. They're from Europe. No, we were from Europe too. There was not just wars on African land. There was wars on European land, French and all these. They just took the land masses and renamed them. Just like they renamed Christmas. Go put it in the garbage. What is there? Just like they renamed Christmas. You know, and it's more pedophilia. They made it okay for your kids to be comfortable with a white man. Sit on a white man's lap. Tell the white man what you need while you black parents are sitting somewhere in a white factory at somebody white-owned job, working your behind off just to give credit to a white man who's the image of happiness, who's the image of goodness. When have a white man ever been the image of goodness to us? So why do we not go ahead and step away? When I stepped away, my kids still believed in Christmas. We did lights, but we took out the Santa Claus. Why? I said it a long time ago. Talking about hurting your child feeling. Let them be realistic. Y'all teach them the tooth fairy and all that stuff. Grand Rising. Thank you, Lamar. You said, you know, Jehovah's Witnesses face the same prosecution as the Jews, but we don't hear about it. No, anybody that was not, and when they say the Jews, anybody that was not with the Christianity faced consequences. But if you look at the book, if y'all got a Bible in your house, if you got any book that is religion, open it up, look at the year that it was published, when it was. Everything traces back almost 2,000 years ago, where everything was made up and we were left out the equation. You get what I'm saying? Let me see if my crab water is ready. I'm boiling crabs and stuff, and I gotta look for my seasoning. But let me tell you, dang it, I need my crab boil. Here's some lemons. Let me tell you. You don't want to teach your children that a white person is going to. You don't want to teach your children that a white person is going to bless them. I think it's ridiculous. I think we've been programmed to give all our credit to white people, and then the ultimate white person to give credit to is a white Jesus. When we say and we get something, oh, thank you, Jesus. And then in our minds, well, he's not black. I mean, white, he's black. No, he didn't exist until white people made him up. And I'm sorry that's something that y'all need to hear, that y'all don't want to hear. But we got to look at, where does the programming start? Where did the black family break apart? Why are we the only ones walking around with RIP t-shirts? Why are we the only ones walking around with RIP t-shirts? Why you don't see white people with the same stuff? Why are we always at the bottom of the totem pole? Maybe everything we've been doing for the past 1,000 years is more adding to our destruction as a race. It's adding to our destruction as a race. It's not a help to us. And that's the problem. Y'all can see what's in my refrigerator, leftovers and all that. But y'all work hard, and I remember being them people. Y'all work hard. I don't know if y'all been looking at my gardening photos. This is something from the family garden too. But that'll be just like this. You out there, back in the days, black people didn't have much to give to their people, fruits and vegetables. And you work out hard. You going to work every day. You trying to buy your kids all this stuff. I remember doing all that stuff. And then on Christmas Day, you go in the living room, all the clothes and toys are thrown around. They barely got any toys left. And the only thing you walk around or walk away with is the pride to know I bought my kids what white people kids can have. And it's stupid because you went broke trying to live like the Jones. The Jones means live like the white race when you're not equal to them. In every way, your kids can go out riding their bike. They likely to get pulled over by the police or have a white neighbor call the cops on them on Christmas Day. Versus a little white child and all them around Santa who look like them. That's a big fat grandpa for the white people. Santa is nothing but the white person's great grandpa image. Why are you attaching your children to whiteness? Y'all might not like it, but it's true. The truth is the truth is the truth is the truth. You might not like the truth, but you gonna have to face it. You see what I'm saying? You must have. I'm looking for my little crab ball bag. Look at my refrigerator right down here. Let me show you something. Even though this is my refrigerator, this is what I'm talking about. Yup, my grandmama them did too. That's the whole point. That is where our heart is at. That's why we can't heal. That's why we can't get nowhere. That's why we can't thank each other. If I did something for you, and you a Christian, the first person you're going to thank is an imaginary white man called Jesus. But when I look in here, let me tell you what racism is. Racism is when you go on your house and you got nothing but white labels. Yeah. Everything is owned and benefit. Everything that's in my refrigerator, everything that's in your refrigerator, from names and everything, it is white benefiting. SE Groceries. Blue Bonnet. What face is on there? Land O'Lakes, honey mustard from Publix. This was my coffee. I have to sit. Sometimes the reason why I go hard is because I want us to look at reality. And then you bring a big ass white man in your house and then you teach your kids that you be good and this big fat white man is gonna give you toys. If you be good, this white man named Jesus is gonna bless you. If you be good, this white man called God is gonna let you in the pearly gates so you can walk on streets of gold, even though you a spirit and you don't need to walk. Does it make any sense? Does it make any sense? All my food in here, white labels, green wise. Where we gonna go get some black stuff and then we celebrate with one black person? Oh, they let me in the white stove. Yes, this one black person raised $1 million and then they on Target let them put it in their store. Does that make sense? I don't know what the name of that hot dog place is, but I'm just trying to show you. I can go through almost all my products. Rich, Frosted Flakes, Townhouse, Kellogg. I can go through all of this stuff and I'm not going to find one but black label unless I have to search, order it online. So why is it free for them to enter into our houses? Go over there and stop. Get into our houses, enter into our spaces, and we don't get. You know what's the most black organic thing I got right here? Let me show you. If y'all looked at my other film, go look at my other film from the garden. This, no black labels. Want to know why? It was grown in the black people yard. This, lemons, no black labels. Want to know why? It was grown in the black people yard. See, when we start, look at this. I got an aloe plant out there. I had just burned myself. Put that on there. I ain't go to the store and buy as much as we could. We are not going to be able to stop it because everywhere you look, it's not. You're looking at labels, but it's really saying white. Look at this. These peppers. These came out the black yard. No white labels. This is why we grow our own food. You get what I'm saying? Other than that, look at all my jars and stuff. white label, Kosher, Velasquez, Colossian. All of these, all white people, they show you. They get to be first. They get to come into your house first. We already been forced to bring them into our houses subconsciously. Subconsciously. We're inviting them into our spaces. Want to know why? Because the US designed it that way, where you are not allowed to go to a black company. And now that we able to do business, it's like, let me search through this sea of whiteness. Let me swim through this sea of whiteness. Is that a black label? It got a black face on it. Let me find something that got a black face on it, but it ain't like this. Slap your mama. Slap your mama. I was been buying this till I met the people who own it. They all white. They just took a black saying, put there because they got money first. They got other white people they can call that teach them. White people understand business, so they'll jump in and invest on a business deal and help themselves out. Black people, we barely getting in school. We just got allowed to get in desegregated schools in the 1960s. 60s. They act like it was a long time ago. When it comes down to us, oh, it's a long time ago. But when it comes down to them, Civil War reenactment. Let's go reenact the Civil War over and over and over and over and over and over again. Let's go remember 9/11 over and over and over again. But when it comes down to black people, oh, that was a long time ago. Why y'all still talking about that? When we need some black, we got to go through a sea of whiteness to get black, to get some blackness in. Do you think that's right? Do you think that white people care? You bring up a black Santa. You think they bringing their kids around to see a black Santa? They ain't got to worry about nothing. When you do get a black label, you got to make sure it's not owned by a white person that just, now they see, oh, wait a minute, black people waking up. They want this and that. So now we need to make sure that we put black faces on our white products. Why is it a trick to get there? Because we are $1 trillion spending industry. We are $1 trillion spending industry. And they need black dollars. They're not $1 trillion spending industry. They use everybody else's money, especially ours. They didn't use their minds and stuff to invent the stuff that they take credit for. Black people, what was his name? Crumb. I forgot his first name. Crumb. He created the potato chip. But now you got all these white companies with potato chip brands, but you don't know that potato chips was created by a black man. His last name was Crumb, right? And when he had a restaurant, because we couldn't go to the white places, right? So when wasn't allowed in white places, black businesses was booming. That's why black businesses ain't booming no more, because they figured, wait a minute, let's let these niggers in so we can get that money. When the black places was booming, Mr. Crumb needed to give people hors d'oeuvres. That's where they get it from. When you go sit down and eat at a restaurant, they give you salsa and dip, chips and dip. Well, a black man created that. His name was Crumb. And guess what they did? Now you hear potato chip, and at the bottom of the bag, all the little crumbled up pieces, they named those the crumbs. When the black man created the potato chip, he sliced up potatoes and fried them as an appetizer, as an hors d'oeuvre, to give to the black people that was waiting on their food to be cooked. White people stole that idea. You got Lay's, you got Wise, you got Doritos, you got see how they do? Where's the black potato chip company? Why wasn't there one first? Then we turn around and say, oh, the first black company was accepted. It was never the first black company. George Crumb. Thank you. Love JJ 1814. His actual name was George Crumb. So don't you think it's an insult that you buy potato chips? How do white labels get all over it? That white people got all, and we don't even know the potato chip was invented by a black person, and he gave them away. He gave them away. George Crumb invented the potato chips to give black people something to eat on while they waited on their food. They even stole that concept Now when you go in there, you want some bread, like they're the ones that we supposed to look after. You want some chips and dip, and we always trying to be motherfucking white. And they ain't did nothing to contribute to our society but destroy us, pick us apart, steal our cultures, mix our brains up, destroy our children with their programming of what they want in their mind and seeing us on the screen. They love to see black people be gangsters and shoot it up, rape the drug dealers, and we obliged to play them parts. Then when it come down to happiness, here go big ass, fat ass, white head Santa Claus coming in your house to tell your children, if you be a good little nigger, I'll give you a present. If not, I'll give you some charcoal. Ain't that stupid? That is stupid to me. It's stupid. It's like we should have common sense. I don't care how dumb they have us. We should have common sense by now. We should have common sense by now, shouldn't we? You would think. You would really think. But we don't think. Because we want to go with what feels good. It feels good to get up and go to church every day with black people. And because she believes in Jesus, we believe in Jesus. And if you don't believe in Jesus, we program to do each other like white people do. Ostracize you, don't like you, keep you out. We'll sit in church. We'll pray for them while you sit back and hope something bad happens to the black person that don't believe in Jesus like you, so you can show them Jesus real. Oh, I remember when I left my church. I pray that God don't kill you. Ain't we all gonna die? Ain't that the concept? The whole concept is we all gonna die, but we all should be living the best life we can before it happens. You don't need streets of gold. You ain't gonna have no damn feet. I mean, the things that's promised to you from this white man Jesus and this white man Santa makes no sense, because none of the black kids are getting half of the shit they asked for. I remember praying, let us all bow our heads and pray that racism ends in the name of Jesus. Did it ever happen? How many black people had to hang in trees and scream, Jesus, help me, and he never came? Garrett Morgan made the traffic light. Misha Williams said Garrett Morgan made the traffic light. But everybody uses the traffic light. But when you think they program you, oh, the first black person was the first black surgeon. We were the black surgeon. So how are we celebrating the first black one at this white person hospital? Why don't we have black? Why don't they say no reparations? Every invention, every business that white people got, a percentage of that business can go back to reparations, because we built everything. We built everything. So how you don't have money for reparation? The traffic light. The whole motherfucking world uses it. One black person created it, and the whole world is leeching off it, and you teaching your kids if they be good, some fat ass white man gonna give them a present. I think we need something done. But I'm gonna just cook these crabs, because they say we crabs in a bucket. But every time I go there, I look at the concept different. They tell us crap. They always teach us the truth without teaching us the truth. Where my clamps at? One moment. Because they always saying crabs in a bucket, but every time I go to get my crabs, when I pull one up, the other one grabs the other one. They're a hurdle. They want you to believe crabs in a bucket is real, because they don't want other black people reaching out, pulling no other black people out the hole, a bag of holes that they put us in. They don't want us to dig each other out. So that's why they came up with the white woman and for the black man. They came up with the projects for the black woman and welfare. They gave us things so that we won't need each other, while they destroy our trust with each other as black people. And then we go leech to them, because had we been taught the way our grandparents was taught, we wouldn't be supporting a lot of white businesses. You would automatically been supporting black businesses first. Had we kept marching and stuff, we would have known. Had Martin Luther King been able to educate y'all would not be celebrating Martin Luther King the way you do. You would be celebrating Malcolm X. Yeah. Malcolm X and Martin Luther King were going to work together. Crabs in the bucket. He ain't grabbed nobody because his claws already done came off. But they don't want you to. I think this is a prime example. Hold on, let me show y'all something. Show me crabs in a bucket. This is what they don't want to happen. They don't want to pull one person up and that black person come up with it. No, they want that black person to let each other go so that you can go to the white side. You see what I'm saying? How is it a crab in a bucket? I had to think about it. I eat crabs all the time. Stop. Crabs in a bucket made no sense because at the end of the day, somebody want to say something. Hold on. There you go. It made no sense because I'm like, every time I pull the crabs, they be so tight. Some crabs be so tight with each other, you'll break their arm off trying to release them from each other. You see what I'm saying? This claw was taken off because the other crab was holding on to the crab so tight. When you pull one out, I have to bang them to let them go, let each other go. See how they tricked us with the crab in the bucket analogy? They make it look like the crabs are pulling each other down, and that's not the truth. When you pull one crab up, they link on. Right now, get out of there. Right now, they have canceled Alaskan snow crab season. All the crabs fucking left. If I'm lying, I'm flying. Woo! Go find the article. All the crabs left. So that lets you know one thing right here. And when you look at arthropods, they look at arthropods as some of the first beings on the earth. An arthropod is what they look for. They use hermit crab insides to make medicine. So the crab itself is a unique creature. They don't teach you that because they have made it a stereotype for us to look bad. And I'm trying to show y'all that makes no sense. Look at here. Look at this. They holding each other. He not trying to fight him. And if you look right here. Uh-oh, I got it holding on. He not this one was held on. Hold on. They is clamping. But this is what they do. They hold on to each other. I'm trying to go back over that way. I'm gonna show you another. This is it. Dang it. They keep breaking. I'm gonna show you another example when they say crabs in a bucket. See how they holding on to each other? If I pull this crab out, even though I put them in the pot, they pulling each other up. There ain't no crabs pulling each other down. Hey, Private Bentley, because I'm Mrs. Claus today. I want to know why black folks, Private Bentley say why I got that wig on. Tulsa, Oklahoma, the city's got their reparations this summer. It's a start. No, they didn't. I went to Tulsa, Oklahoma. That was half of them are a bunch of sellouts that only gave half of them something. The whole city, everybody black should have reparations because the whole city suffered. If you go down to Tulsa, Oklahoma, everywhere where they burn down black businesses now sits nothing but white businesses and immigrant businesses. That's not reparations. All the families that on that board out there when all their businesses burned down, not one black business got reparations. Got an insurance policy that they paid for. Insurances did not take them. That's not reparations. That's a trick. They want Tulsa, Oklahoma is on the map because anytime somebody uses Tulsa, Oklahoma for an example, if anybody use black destruction, they use Tulsa, Oklahoma for an example, right? And we don't need that. They want you to silence Tulsa, Oklahoma when there was over 50 to 100 towns they destroyed. So don't let that fool you. They want you because we use Tulsa, Oklahoma as the example of black towns because of the wealth. They want to make you think they doing something down there. I rode with the other families. The stairs to nowhere is still there. Everybody in Black in Tulsa, Oklahoma should get reparations. Why? Because everybody Black was affected. I'm affected. You're affected because I shouldn't have to be in a racist town when I can move to Tulsa, Oklahoma, where my people would have been to give me jobs. So we all were left out of opportunity from all them hundreds of towns that they either flooded, burned down, or took over. So that's not reparations. Reparations mean anybody that was living in America should be able to get benefits. They trying to give California reparations. They only want to do it in particular places because if you go in there and do Tulsa, Oklahoma, then they'll say stop complaining. Tulsa, Oklahoma got their reparations because that's who we use as an example. We use Tulsa, Oklahoma as an example for a lot of things. So don't let them fool you with that Tulsa, Oklahoma mess. They not giving them reparations. Hold on, let me get these crabs in here. They not giving them reparations. Hold on. I only got one. They on the edge. They didn't. They want to shut you up from having to use Tulsa, Oklahoma. See what I mean by that? They want to shut you up from having to use Tulsa, Oklahoma as an example. Hold on, y'all. This crab ain't going. Let me get something. But they, oh, he let go. They want you to use Tulsa, Oklahoma. They need to do something because you got to think about the people that you they said that in Tulsa, Oklahoma, that victims can not sue or receive any money. They've been said that when they wouldn't give them their insurance policy. That's why it's a big plaque and a big statue up there with hundreds, thousands of names of businesses that I seen with my own eyes that applied for insurance policies and never got it. But guess who they gave the insurance money to? The white people. Who businesses got affected with them burning down ours. They want to say they giving Tulsa, Oklahoma something so y'all can say, well, we didn't have reparations, but reparations need to be with everyone. Everyone. The thing about it's not just those descendants, it's the town itself where we could be out here gathering, moving. See, the thing is you got to know history. Every time there was a bad place for us, Black people got up and migrated. The Trail of Tears were Black people. They said Indians, but if you go back and know that Indians were Black, you'll see what the Trail of Tears was. Because I always wondered how my family got from the South to the city. And when you put history together, the Trail of Tears and all that stuff was not that long ago. That's why people come back down to their roots. When the Civil War was coming, they ran up north to freedom. Black people moved around to where it's freedom. That's why they had that's why they had their Black towns. Because if I didn't want to be in an all-white town, I can move to the safety of this Black town. I get a job. There's no racism. We had bus contract. We had contracts before they came up with real racism to leave us out. So they burned down our towns and did everything. And then when we were forced to be out here because everything burned down, everything destroyed, then they put up their whites only sign. See, people keep thinking, y'all keep asking for reparations for slavery. We can get reparations for descendants of slaves, but we need reparations for after slavery. Because that's where it hit us the hardest. After slavery, during slavery, you were still able to buy land. During slavery, you were able to build businesses. There was none of these laws and Black codes. It was after slavery where they fucked us in the ass with a broomstick. I'm telling you the truth. Because after you took all the way, you burned down the town so we wouldn't have each other to come to. That's why we had the Green Book. Let's pull up the Green Book. None of them businesses that you was allowed to go to exists anymore because white people destroyed them. So now when you need to get away from white people, there's nowhere to go. So they got free for all, shooting and killing us in the streets. Black people come up hung because some white people probably get drunk. They know the law. They know what it is. They know these roads like the back of their hand. They come and they snatch them up, a black person or white person. Next thing you know, how many lynches that we not talk about with black people and black women hanging from trees? What about the black serial killer that was going around killing people? I forgot what state it is. There's a lot going on. But because the news is so sporadic and they only teach you, oh, black people shot each other again. No, what about what these motherfucking people are doing to us? What about all the black people that's been coming up lynched and stuff? Huh? What about all that? They destroy your safe places. That's the whole thing about the micronation, is that all I'm doing is rebuilding history with the micronation. We need to start buying towns and reproducing Black Wall Street. All these other activists are buying towns and you don't hear shit else about it. They want as much money as the white person wants. It ain't no bringing stuff together. A bunch of black people getting money, they act just like them. Yeah. They act just like them. We have started to capitalize off of each other. We have started to capitalize off of each other. Like them. They taught us to use and abuse each other like they do us. So Santa, back to this. I got this wig on because I'm Mrs. Claus today, because obviously this is what we need to look like to get a positive black role model in our household. Because like I said, all the labels that we got, everything we got, look around your household and point out your black labels. Why is it more white people names in your house? And then to top it off, you let that big ass, fat ass white man come in and say, ho, 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 if your kids ain't good, I'm going to give them black coal for Christmas. Oh, if your kid's good, then give me the credit. Santa. And that way you go work your black asses to death on a job that you probably ain't even equal on. And then you turn around and give it to Santa. Give him the credit for everything that you do. No, you're not getting that. Go ahead over there. You give a white man credit, and I had to think about it one day, and my cousin got mad, and this is why they want us to mix races. See, when you got mixed kids, that's how my cousin was. They dated all these white women, and they like, I don't see the problem. You don't see the problem because you got whiteness in your house. You don't see the problem because now your kids is mixed. So it seems right for a white man to be in the house because the mama white, or it seems right to say that a white man ain't Santa because the daddy is white. But it don't look right. Just like this damn white wig don't look right. It don't go with the complexion. We're different. So why do I need a white idol in my house? And then y'all turn around and say that God don't like no guys before them. You go ahead. God don't like no other guys before them. So is Jesus a God? Is Easter Bunny a God? Is Santa Claus a God? Is the leper? Is Saint Patrick? See all these white idols? The Tooth Fairy, all this is white. When you go to open up your calendars, yeah, open up your cupboards, open up your counters. You need to go somewhere. The keys. Open over here. Open up your they're right there. Oh, the van. Yeah. Okay. Open up your counters. And see how many white labels you got. Stop looking at them as name brand. Look at them for what it is. That's a white family that is benefiting, and count how many white families. You probably can't count. Look at your lamps, your furniture, the houses that's built, the construction companies, your waters. And then we celebrate because one white woman. They took Aunt Jemima off the pancake box. Now they took it off because everybody complaining about them using black faces to make it look like it's black owned. And they've been benefiting off of Aunt Jemima, who made the pancake for years. Our grandparents made it. Our grandparents used to talk about whole cakes. Some of that stuff is the things our grandparents had to come up with just to have full meals. Bread, collard greens, all that. Now these motherfuckers out here, you go to a high class restaurant. Oh, you want these collard greens? You gotta pay at least you gotta pay at least $100. I think they had like $100 for one little collard green or something.
Yeah,
Yeah, they were selling a little thing of collard greens because what in their mind? Why would a little thing of collard greens cost almost $100? Because in their mind, like, hey, this is slave food. Oh my God, Billy, let's get the slave food. What about them chitlins? Oh, I want them. You gotta understand what's being done. They already done stole everything. Now they stealing the slave food, and they reselling it back to us. You go in the grocery store, name a black item. It's not nothing to celebrate because one black person makes it in a sea of white people who invented nothing, who parents didn't go through nothing to get what they got. And we celebrating one black person putting something on the shelf. That's an insult. We created education, but we celebrating one black person graduated from an all-white school when we had black schools, and they starved the HBCUs to death, and white people can get in on the HBCUs and get more scholarships than us. Somebody said, yes, pancakes were invented in ancient Egypt and Africa. That's right. I even heard them say, now they want to give credit to Mexicans. Mexicans didn't exist. The same Mexicans that was at the beginning was black. That's why when you find islands and stuff, I want to show y'all something. I want y'all to look at that picture on the wall. When they find an island and they look it up, please let me know why the island is always all black. Why do people look like this? I'm not lying. Then they want you to cheer it. Then they want you to think, when you see that all black model, stop mess with that. Leave that alone. When you see the black model, they want you to think, oh, look at her skin is so dark. Like it's abnormal to be that dark. It's abnormal to be this light, because most of the islands and people that they discover now is just as black as that before they started mixing us with their blood. Then, it goes against everything we believe in. We cannot keep fighting for justice and holding on to they're the ones that's pagan. We can't keep fighting for justice. We can't keep talking about doing something and ignoring the big elephants that's in America. The black towns were burned down so that you cannot have no way to help each other. When we owned the black towns, you couldn't come in here and bring in your police stations, your white mayors, your white commissioners. There was no reason to vote, because then we would have real voting. Now it's just black neighborhoods. Those are not black towns. A neighborhood inserted in a white town is still a white town. That's just majority black. A black town is owned by black people. Atlanta is not a black town. Atlanta is a place where a bunch of black people gather. It's still owned and ran by white people. We need to stop letting whiteness in our minds first and let it be okay. It's okay not to praise them. We have been praising Jesus in the name of whiteness. It's okay not to let your kids care about Santa Claus and all that. Teach them that it's a time of celebration, but what it's about is about the winter solstice. It's time to plant, and it's going to be a celebration time during Easter when everything rises from the ground. And it's time to harvest. We keep letting these people play mind games with us. We can't even get us on the right thing. You don't know what to fight for. That's why you think you fighting. Say her name. Say her name. What are you expecting? There's a whole system against us. And the first thing we need to think of is that if we had our Black Wall Street, Rosewood, and all the other hundreds of towns that they destroyed, would we be getting shot in their streets? Would we be getting shot down in their streets? No, we wouldn't, because we would be in our streets. So no, it's time out. One this year. I don't care if you already been talking about Christmas with your kids. This year, sit your kids around the tree and burn Santa in a garbage can. And tell them no more white images. Let's get rid of one white image. If we can't let go of Jesus right now, let's get rid of that fat ass white man in the suit. And his wife, Mrs. Claus. We need black images so your kids can know. You don't need nobody. You don't need your kids looking up to a white man. If I be good, this white man with these roses cheeks is going to help me. Then when you go out there, they okay with the white man. Kids is okay. Kids is okay with walking up to white men, sitting on their lap. But then when they see an image of a black person who looks like their father or looks like their mother, they're taught that that is a thug. Misha says, so when we fought for integration like Martin Luther King did, he realized the end of his life that we would have been better off segregated. Yes, he did. It's in there. It's called The Letter. That's what they're not teaching you. They keep talking that I had a dream speech, but they had to get rid of him when he got with Martin Luther King and he was sitting in that jail and he said, I feel like I integrated my people into a burning house. That's what Martin Luther King said. He didn't say he had a dream everybody can get along. He ain't tell y'all to go F and procreate and then erase yourselves. When he was standing up and telling y'all that he integrated us into a burning building, he was saying we was just being destroyed. He realized it, but before he could tell y'all, they murdered him. They shot him, and then he didn't die. Then them have to spit on him and smother him to death. But they don't want to teach that side of history because they too busy recreating the Civil War. We needed to be segregated. When we were segregated, we had our own sports teams. Their sports was so boring. Look it up. Their sports was so boring. They so 2D. Billy and Becky, they needed to bring black people in. So we wasn't brought into white sports because they were fair. We were brought into white sports so that they can use us for their entertainment. And it's the same shit that's been going on. Just like when they brought us into slavery. Every black person didn't need it. They didn't give a damn if you died. They needed to make sure you were fit enough so that you can work in their fields. They ain't want all black people. They wanted certain black people, and that's the same way they do with the basketball and the football. They want you to do stuff to entertain them. It wasn't for us, because if that's the case, we all would have been there. How did our black people end up playing sports and being stuff thrown at them, called niggas, but they the one on making the team? That was their entertainment. They had a black person on the team running, trying to make money, and then they get to throw shit at them and call them niggas, and they still do it in other countries to this day. When they was over there in Ukraine, they were holding up signs talking about Derek Chauvin or whatever his name that killed George Floyd. They were celebrating him in Ukraine, and them same racist white people. Look at the name, Ukrainians. They're white. French, they're white. I would say the JEW name, but honey, you know how they do because they own these media platforms. But they the same color. What makes them different? The name and title they put on each other, and so they make us do that. They make us think if you from Europe, that means white, when it's not that. It's the landmass. Our people used to leave from Africa to Europe, from Europe to the Americas. It was called Eurasia or Asia. We were everywhere. They have made us, programmed us to think everything else besides Africa was white. We don't need to be that way no more. Start telling your kids ain't no damn Easter bunny, ain't no damn little lily white, tooth fairy, even the motherfucking Easter bunny white. I'm just thinking about it. You know what I'm saying? Black soccer players, that's right, have problems. They still do it in other countries. America is just the least racist country with rules of racism. It don't stop racism in America. They just got a little bit more rules than the other racist white places do. But think of the name, Ukrainians. They're still white people. All of that European countries came over to America. That's why they come after them. And then they sit up here talking about they have a state of emergency right now because Mexicans are coming in. When the Haitians was running because they destroyed Haiti, they wouldn't let black people come here. But our tax dollars, they ain't even giving us reparations. Our tax dollars can go to Santa motherfucking Claus, all these relief efforts for white people, but not no black towns, not no black country. $1 billion and something is going to Ukraine, and we arguing about reparations. Peter Cottontail is White Bunny. Here come Peter Cottontail. Why do I know that song? Hopping down the bunny, because I was programmed in school to know it. Not programmed to know that my people were here in America. Not programmed to know that George Crumb made the potato chips. But I'm programmed to say the Nina, the Pina, the Santa Maria. I'm programmed to know that George Washington cut down the cherry tree. I ain't programmed to know shit about myself. We have to force ourselves that, and that's what we got to do to our children. I had to force myself to get Santa Claus out my system. You cut most black people, they're going to bleed white all over you. The number one key play is the Jesus, because it connects all that bullshit together. Somehow when you talk about Christmas, you're offending Jesus and God. If you talk about Santa, you're offending Jesus. I used to be young and I thought about it. I asked my mama, how can we get Santa Claus to come when we don't have a fireplace? Most black people grew up with fire escapes. And I remember my mama telling me, well, Tina, they come down the fire escape. And I remember my mind saying, why is my mama sitting here lying? But okay, if it make her feel good. You think you're hurting your children by telling them the truth. And your children already know. Your children, they tell you their brain is like a sponge. As you grow, they absorb it. And so they have programmed us to program our children to absorb white lies. That's right. The key component is Jesus. Because anything you say that go against their holidays and everything, they don't have no real foundation of Jesus. They have no evidence. So they piggybacked off of all our cultures and what was natural. And then that way, if you go against it, they even took the Bible from the sarcophaguses, as they call the Book of the Dead, and you will see it matches. They even took the cross from that. Their cross means death. The Ankh mean life. But they made sure it surrounds around everybody. Everything is surrounded around Jesus. So when you detach yourself, what you doing against Jesus over there? What you doing? White reflects light. You see my hair? Can you even see the top of the hair? Because it blends in with the light. It's nothing. But you see my blackness, because my blackness absorbs the light. Your body is a walking science project of God, of the universe. Black people don't glow like this. That's why when they say you see a ghost, it's always something white. No, it's electricity. We are melanin. We are electricity energy wrapped in melanin. They don't want you to know that. They want you to know about here come Peter Cottontail and Mrs. Claus and Santa Claus. Sit your black kids on that white man lap. Even though white men are mostly have been known for pedophile and eating black people, Jeffrey Dahmer. That's why it was okay for a white cop to bring a black boy right back up to the killer's house. Only a white person could sit with their house smelling like 100 dead bodies and nobody finds it suspicious. We don't think it's something suspicious about this big fat white man. And then they have Rudolph with the red-nosed reindeer. And then when they want to act like they not racist, they use all kinds of animal figures. I want to show you something. Hold on, y'all. Go on and talk, Jay.
What I'm gonna say?
I just want to show them something, and I didn't think about this. It has nothing to do with you. Everybody like cartoons, right? I want to show you something. Remember, I said everywhere you go is white label. Boom, Paw Patrol. See, they don't want you to have nobody black. They don't want a black image of a boy or anybody. This is your black image of a little dog. That's the blackest you're going to get on there when they switch you to animals. And then they put the little dog. Notice how they is. Paw Patrol. It's okay if it's cute, if we all have images, but this is as close as black kids get in their white cartoons. We don't even have a black princess. I think it was a Princess and the Frog that they Disney have, and then they made sure that she stayed a frog halfway through the movie. She wasn't even black during the movie. They want to act like they including us when they're not. Your whole house is filled with white labels. I remember in New York that they was talking about, let me tell you the horror stories of Christmas. I remember in New York when they told me that I remember in New York when they told me that, hold on, I want y'all to look up that there at the label. I remember in New York when they told me one of our school members had died. I was in elementary school. She was a little black girl. She died because she went out on the fire escape where her parents sleep, hoping to see Santa. I remember standing in my window as a little child when it snowed, hoping I could get a glimpse of Santa. Why? Luckily, I wasn't finna go out there, but imagine the other little girl. There was always stories, horror stories at Christmas for black people. Little girl froze to death on her fire escape, waiting on big old jolly white Santa. Neither Jesus nor Santa showed up. How many times is black people going to yell, Jesus, Jesus, help me, and we don't never get no help, but yet we will argue each other down that Jesus is real? How many times, huh? Uh-oh. Let me check this on the show. My bad. How many times are we going to yell, Jesus is real? Oh, thank you, Jesus. I see this people saying, oh, won't he do it? Won't he fix it? Y'all just happy something happened. You just happy you got some money. Jesus ain't got nothing to do with that money because it's nothing but white faces, or it have all our faces on them. There's a pastor right now. Guess what he doing? Burying his wife. She young. Oh, thank you. They pastored this big church. Guess what happened to her before Christmas? She went to sleep. Oh, a stray bullet. I guess it was Jesus. Came out of nowhere and hit her in the head. He holding her hand in the hospital, going through the thing. But we programmed to pray and Jesus our way through our hurt. He holding her hand and saying this was the last. They was promised each other never to take their rings off, and he was taking off her ring because it was till death do you part. So Jesus allowed a stray bullet to just come out the sky and shoot one of his leaders that leads the church because Jesus needed her. And her husband sitting up there talking about God is still good. They prayed. They gathered outside the hospital to pray that Jesus fix it, and he didn't. She died in the midst of her young children and grandchildren. So explain Jesus to me. Explain why y'all still hold on to this stuff. I never understood how our so-called bishop died poor and broke, even though he did all this praying for everybody, laid hands, and God can tell you everything, but God can't tell them nothing else is going to happen to them. Then they like, we don't question God. That should ring a bell right then. You need to start asking questions because the universe moves in question. In your mind, a person said, what would it be like to have shelter and electricity running through that shelter so I don't have to be out in the woods? That's the question they asked the universe. The universe gave them a picture and they started building. And that's how you got your house. Then the other universe, that person said, well, how we get the electricity together? So they got together, and that person, that the universe gave that knowledge to, started wiring and doing stuff, and they made the wires for your house. When God, you question God. When we stop questioning God, that's when we fail on our faces. God, why? I ask God alone, why do our people suffer the way they do and nothing ever happens to white people? Because y'all won't listen to the true voice of God, which is the creation. You won't listen to the God inside your mind. You've been programmed to shut your self-defense. You've been programmed to what is it called? Fight or flight. In nursing, they call it fight or flight. Basically, if they put you to sleep, people don't like to be put to sleep because your body won't react because it's in a sleep mode if something happens. That's why a lot of people can die during surgery. You can't drown yourself, you know that, right? In a tub, because your body is going to force itself to live. You're dealing with a flesh and a spirit. Your flesh is always going to want something. It's up to your spirit to control your flesh. But the things they tell you that your flesh shouldn't do is not all sin. If how can God give you an ass and private parts and then turn around and tell you going to hell for using it? If two people agree that they want to sleep with each other, that's their business. Now you should have some standards because sleeping around brings children. But I'm just trying to tell y'all how you're programmed to shut down your common sense. Fight or flight response. That's right. They have gotten rid of our fight or flight response. Because if we fight for the truth, we would have been left white supremacy. That's what your flight is. Save yourself. Don't get that information. I don't listen to white success stories no more because everything that they got and gathered came off the backs of black people. You had it easy. So to me, that's not no success story. You ain't had to walk out there and worry every day if you're going to get shot going to your job interview by a police officer. We're not the same. We're not the same. They shut down your fight or flight because if you would have had your fight or flight, you would have known that R. Kelly ain't no different than Harvey Weinstein, but Harvey Weinstein just now being found guilty, and even though they got us focused on R. Kelly as the pedophile, not the white man, because everything else white is nice and beautiful. Fight or flight senses have been shut down when your mind say, look, when I was asking questions, I distinctly remember, but my mind too strong. I remember asking them, like, why won't Jesus fix this? Why are kids hungry? Why is this? Why when I remember I sat in my car one time, I was going through something in my life and I was in church. I was a church person and I was sitting in my car and I was crying and asking God to, oh Lord, this dishwasher. Asking God, how come he won't help me? I remember sitting in my car asking, like, why won't this happen? Why won't this just change? Give me this job. I need it. Because our heart's intentions is good. If we had the money, our heart intentions is good. Nothing happened. And that voice said, look at you. Who are you praying to? And then my fight or flight senses told me, my program mind said, shut down that question. Shut down that voice. And I was so wore out. Then I'm like, I'm mad. No. See, when we get mad with God, that's when we start questioning and answer questions. But they teach you, don't be mad with God. Then when things okay, we come back. God, I was just joking. Thank you for being a good God. God is a good God. Yes, he is. All them church songs. All that is programming. The what feel good is you around a bunch of black people or other white people. You're singing, you're dancing. And everything feels good. You eating together. That's what our tribes did. You didn't need that Jesus and that person on the podium. You needed your head leader. You needed your grandpa, your great grandpa, or the uncles. You don't need that preacher standing up who ain't no good. That's why the universe keeps showing you these preachers ain't nothing but human. See, in a tribe, you ain't looking at somebody to be a God. You looking at that is your tribal leader. You're not putting him no higher than the next. You know he's human. But when you put these people in here, they're telling you, well, the reason why I got this because I got divine intervention from God, and divine intervention from God taught me this and that. And it's all BS. It's all BS. Ain't no divine intervention from God. That's mine?
It's mine.
What?
What is it?
Oh, no. Talk about what is it?
It's from that little place.
But I'm just laughing at her. I thought it was my letter she bringing up me. But we shut down our common sense because they filled our heads with so many stories, and then that fear. I had my friend tell me, I said, why don't you just leave it alone and check? She said, I'd rather go ahead and serve. What is going to help going to church and serving God? Even if it ain't one real, at least I ain't take the chance. But if he is real, at least I get to heaven. So your black ass gonna go to heaven, even though you doing all this other stuff. And
oh, it's just a little refund thing.
from where?
From it was $7.03. So they was trying to refund them.
I gotta look at my Blue Cross Blue Shield. Look, they want you to shut down your common sense, because if your common sense kicked in that God give everybody, because it took common sense for us to build the pyramids. It took common sense for our people to say, who led the first black heart surgery? A black man. Who told him to cut open this part, take this part out, put this part here? Who told him that? His common sense. When you walk in at night and you do that, do you now where the world is now, do you just get out and walk at night in the city without no protection or anything? Common sense tell you to protect yourself because there's criminals out here now. If it's cold and you cold, you shake. Common sense tell you wrap up in something. When the people took the skin from the animal and made coats, common sense told them that. When they had food and it was something on a tree, common sense told them, pull it, pick it open, break it open. Who's speaking to you? What's that voice? Break it open now, taste it. Ooh, this good. Common sense. Now, common sense told nature to equip the poisonous animals with color. So after you keep seeing something happen to somebody, common sense say, don't go down that path, right? Common sense tells you don't leave an open gun out in the open around children, right? So why, when it comes down to white supremacy, we got no damn common sense? Common sense says, get this plant, grind it with this plant, take this chemical, put it in this chemical, voila, you got medicine. Common sense said, take this plant, grind it up, put it with water, voila, you got soap. We don't know the beginning of nothing, and they don't. And they hate that we had a head start advantage, because the only thing that they can attribute to God is us and our pineal gland and the way that we did. They make us have a fear, that's right, of not following them because there's a hell. How you gonna burn when you ain't got no skin, boo? Electric energy is heat. That's why it lights up. Common sense tells you, don't open that oven without no gloves, even if you never, you know it's hot. So common sense starts talking to you. There's a fire. It's hot. Get something. You might get something thin, a piece of paper. Oh, that burned. Common sense say, don't do that again. Let's get something thicker and hold it and open it. Daniel Hale Williams was the first man who did the first open heart surgery. He also owned the first black-owned hospital, the first hospital, because we the ones created hospitals, the courts, the system, the countries. Who told Daniel Hale Williams to go? A white man, Santa, Jesus? They never wrote in their book, Jesus told me that. I thank Jesus for my knowledge. You've never seen a black person write that, except for these new age black people after slavery. If you look at history and look at the slave narratives and look at, ain't nan one of these black people said anything about Jesus. But we don't want common sense to kick in, because that's a common sense thought. Why didn't they ever say anything about Jesus? Where did we get Jesus from? You've been programmed not to ask yourself them questions. So you let the God in you die. They don't have the same God that you got. They don't got the same melanin. They don't got the same hair connectors that connect with the universe. So they have to read everything from a book. Everything is instruction. How to cook. Because if they had the same common sense, we would be on the same scale. They wouldn't have to steal and rob your cultures and your people and shut you down and change history to look like they did. Common sense don't tell them that their lives are going to come down, whether it be on them today or their grandchildren tomorrow. But they don't have that type of common sense, because that common sense is God. Common sense should tell them after a while, black people gonna wake up, which it did tell them certain things. That's the devil in them. So they came up with laws to prevent you from learning. And they came up with church to keep the God in you, because you're God beings. God has to be fed. So they feed your God a bunch of white lies to satisfy your spirit. And then when you in church, everything is good. When you're around the same people acting like you, everything is good. And when you step out that bubble, you don't feel safe. You don't know what to do. You don't know what to happen. When I stepped away from church, I felt weird because I was used to going to somebody. If something happened, I was used to calling the pastor, or calling the sister or the evangelist. Tell me, we're not used to calling our soothsayers. We're not used to calling out what people say voodoo and all that. We're not used to calling our seers, our people with the third eye. But that's who we should be calling. Anything black is voodoo, is demonic. So it's not demonic to walk around and worship everything white. You don't think that's demonic? Every label in our house is white. You don't think that's demonic? And it's not that because I don't support black. It's just that that's what it was. If I had a black grocery store to go to, it's so hard to figure out what is black. Because if I go to a store, it might be one black product. If it is, I don't know. Do you? Even though black people got a lot of businesses, all black people are doing is reselling white products, white labels. Common sense don't tell you that, damn, how did we get here? Black people invented everything, then why we not benefiting? Why are we still poor? Someone said, that's right, that common sense is mama wisdom. No, the black man created, that's our wisdom together. See, they separated us with man and woman. Each one of us came from the universe with a job. The man had the penis, the woman had the vagina. Together, we come together and reproduce. Now, there's going to be some people that do not want, there's going to be some people that say, hey, it ain't no gayness. Some people like both. It's not all the world, but it's some. Some people like man on other, some men like men, some women like women. The problem is that we have been fed chemicals to make it more than what it was, to hate each other, to change each other. We've been fed hormones and everything to change stuff. Common sense is that we both need each other, but common sense ain't told none of us yet to stop shooting and killing each other in the street because they feel our common sense with their white ideologies. Their white imagination. That's right. LeVar said, we're not poor. Many of us aren't community minded. I wasn't raised to care about the entire community, to be honest. And that's what I'm talking about. We are community people. Because when George Crumb was feeding and making the potato chips, he wasn't thinking about, oh, I'm going to charge them for this. He was thinking about, let me give my people something while they wait for me to serve them. When we were community people, we came up with the Green Book. Like I said before, none of those things exist in the Green Book anymore. None of those businesses, because they destroyed it. Those should be the Green Book. We should see it, all those black household labels. But we don't. All we see is whiteness. And then to top off the year, let's bring the big old fat white man and his white woman in the house. Mr. and Mrs. Claus, come on in and take our credit for all the work that we did. Madam C.J. Walker did the straightening comb. Necessity is the mother invention. She did, but Africans and the straightening comb was around for thousands of years. See, there's museums. We had toys. Remember the little Trojan horse and all that? Combs, picks, all that came from ancient Kemet and stuff. We been had all that stuff. What happened was what Madam C.J. Walker got that common sense from God again. I created and probably recreated it. I don't know if she knew. So you have to look back then. They didn't strip them of all the knowledge. A lot of our people were still hope. A lot of the older people back then had culture that was still passed down to them from their grandmamas. That's why they made sure the black woman wore that ball in her mouth and would cut her tongue up so she wouldn't speak. That's why you see them. That's why it was offensive. I think it was Future or whoever that did mask on, mask off. Who's that?
Frank, no water.
Yeah, just sit the bag in there. Yeah, just sit the bag in there. Mask on, mask off. It was an insult because we weren't allowed. Women were not allowed to speak. It wasn't just that. That's why they made us cover up our hair, because we would braid in the maps. So they wanted all that covered. It wasn't just about seeing our hair. Okay, I'm back. My phone was acting up. You know they ain't gonna let us stay on here that long. But I'm gonna be Mrs. Claus. Y'all look at that. Take that, like I said, to top it all off. It's gonna get hot. Just sit it in the water. Turn it off. Turn off the eye so it won't boil. All y'all gonna do is like to top it all off. They brought the fat man, white man in the house, allowing your kids to work yourself to death. Your kids ask you for stuff you cannot give them, while white kids live that Christmas dream. Santa Claus look like they granddaddy and they daddies and they uncles. Santa Claus look like a stranger in your damn house, but in your house he looks like Jesus, God, the Easter Bunny, the Tooth Fairy, Mr. and Mrs. Claus again. They just took the same white characters and re-put them all over you. And you think it's okay for your black people to work yourselves to death. You put up with white people at your job. You are getting the lowest pay. And then to turn around and celebrate with them. You dress yourselves up in designer labels to look like you're not struggling when you are. Stop wearing designer labels. I don't care if you can afford it. We all need to be looking like community. A community together. Together we are suffering. Not one person wearing Dolce & Gabbana and Balenciaga and Gucci and Chanel to make it look like this one black fool walking around to make it look like we ain't suffering. See, I got it like that. I don't care if you got $1 million. Stop wearing these white labels. And together, we need to be wearing black labels. If we can. All this shit on our refrigerator ain't nothing black because we ain't got no black. It's not advertised to us. We need to use our common sense for once, okay? The big fat white man came in your house to tell your kids to be good because God, Jesus, and Santa Claus is watching. If you be good, your teeth fall out. The little lily white tooth fairies coming down to give you money, and it's your black ass is running around slipping money. Stop letting these white people take credit for you. If we can't get rid of Christmas right now, then give yourself the credit for what you worked for and stop letting these white people come in your house. They made these images so that when they are away, you are still worshiping whiteness. You working hard, and then you got to tell your kids, you lied to them to tell them Santa was going to bring them. Then you got to turn right around again and lie to them and tell them why Santa didn't bring this. And then to make it all messed up in the head, you going to lie and tell them they wasn't good, so Santa didn't bring you this. And if you're bad, Santa Claus bring you no blackness in it. The only black thing in Christmas is the charcoal you will get in your stocking for being bad. Come on, y'all. We too grown for this. I'm sick of it. I am sick of it. Just like I'm sick of this wig. But I'm Mrs. Claus and I'm signing out. Y'all stop letting them take away your common sense. Stop letting them take away your accolades that your children should give you. Stop letting your children wear designer labels and stuff. Let your kids know these are white names you are wearing. There's whiteness all over your house under the guise of products. Quaker Oats, Cheerios, Frosted Flakes. But here goes some, look, like I told them, Paw Patrol. There go your black character. Come on. We should have more than what we have, and stop celebrating when they say one black person got entered in. That's not a celebration. We created everything. It's time to start using our own common sense. Okay? Y'all have a beautiful, blessed day, but it's time to get Christmas out get that big ass, fat ass white Santa Claus out your system. And we're going to be coming back and celebrating Kwanzaa so we can come back to community standards. Kwanzaa was created, I forgot his name, by the black man who wanted to give an alternative to Christmas, because y'all black folks need something. Y'all see white people always happy and celebrating something they should be. They got a whole race to live off of. Y'all ain't got shit. Y'all got the labels you adorn yourselves with, the cars you drive, the shoes you put on, all this expensive stuff. It's kind of like me with this wig. I put on items when I'm doing my petty bag to give you a visualization. Y'all are forced to put on these items just so it can look like you're not suffering in America. So when they see a bunch of black people wearing the same name brand labels, then they can say, well, all black people ain't suffering. We are tricked to wear their labels to put ourselves in these situations. And when it burns, there's a shirt for $3,000. I heard there's jeans for $5,000 or $100 or $300, belt buckles. All that shit could be thrown away, and there you go. There you go. But white people get that same money that you bought them belts with and go buy land. And then they put their towns on it, and then they hire the police who shoot y'all black asses. So y'all better start I always keep telling y'all, go way back to where the money, trace the money. Stop making it look like your kids need to celebrate these white holidays with these people who don't care nothing about how your kid is dying in the street or struggling in school or struggling mentally. When we watching Ukrainians come in and get billions of dollars off of your tax dollars, off of your back, and they say you don't pay taxes. Every black person in America pay taxes. Look at your damn paycheck. When you see Trump and all these billionaires are not paying a dime in taxes. Stop letting them control our thought. Remember, fight or flight. Stand here and fight. Most activists are on fight. I'm not running nowhere more from the truth. I'm here to fight myself against the lies that's been programmed in my head. I'm not running no more. I'm fighting to live. Y'all have a blessed day.